Hi everybody, I just arrived in San Francisco. I'm here at the ferry building and I'm going to be heading that way towards one of the Muni stations. I'm here at the Embarcadero and this is one of the Muni stations. Muni is the public transportation system in San Francisco, and they have these several subway lines which run up and down Market Street. This is one of the Muni trains, and I will be getting off at Civic Center Plaza and walking down to Folsom Street. Hi, this is at the Civic Center Plaza station, and I'm heading up towards Market Street, and we'll walk down towards the SOMA area, which is the south of Market area. Hey everybody, this is the SOMA area. That's the south of Market area of San Francisco, and it was traditionally mainly an industrial area. It's become more gentrified and residential now, but at least since the 1970s it was also the home of the BDSM culture, or the leather gay scene. And you had gay bars here, but you also had sort of fetish clubs and dungeons that specialized in bondage and all that stuff. And now the Folsom Street Fair is here every September. Hey, I'm here at the Folsom Street Fair, and the city of San Francisco closes several streets down for the fair, and you have many different vendors here. When I was down here in the 90s, this was sort of this, definitely the center of like the bondage leather culture, and you had more sort of mainstream gay bars up in the Castro. And there's definitely less, public spaces like this, like sex clubs and bathhouses, than there was back then, mainly because of technology. But with cell phones, the bathhouse or the bar or the sex club, or whatever, it's in your hand. It's sort of the same thing. It's just different venue, and actually it's easier now than it was back then, because when I was a scared teenager, you had to get in your car and come down here, and it's different now. Now you can sit in sort of the safety of your home and explore all these different fetishes and subcultures, and you get kind of groomed into it or conditioned into it through pornography. So by the time, let's say, you look for like a social networking app like Grindr, you're probably ready to meet someone, and the dangers are still there of disease and HIV, and it's still there. Again, it's just the venue has changed. Okay, why would someone get involved in these very extreme sort of scenes? There's three reasons. It's physiological, it's also psychological, and it's also spiritual. Number one, physiological. When you've been raised on pornography and more extreme forms. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Number one, physiological. When you've looked at a lot of porn in your life, especially like my generation, Generation X, and later, you get what I call a sort of like porn burnout, meaning that you need more extreme forms of pornography in order to get excited. You start out looking at rather tame stuff, and then you build up until you're looking at, hey, say maybe bondage. Some people don't ever look at it, some people do. I originally came down here because porn got boring, and then gay sex got boring, and this was a more extreme form of those things. So in order to get aroused, you get deeper and deeper into it. And this was about as far down as I could go. There's a physiological need in order to take things further, to push it further, in order to get any sort of release. And that's why some people end up here. The second reason is psychological. In this day and age, a lot of young men grow up alienated from their fathers, or just from male peers, or just men in general. Either it's from broken homes, or fathers who are preoccupied or disinterested. And then you have a lot of lost boys who are looking for a sense of masculinity, and also for a type of initiation into the male world. And here you have this strange sort of simulacrum of that in terms of these sort of endurance tests or these initiation rituals here. So that's really the second reason is initiation. So you have a physiological reason in terms of what I talked about, porn burnout, and the second one is a lack of masculinity in a lot of men's lives. The third reason why I think someone would get involved with bondage or BDSM or whatever, it's a spiritual one. And what I see here a lot, it's, you don't see all religions sort of mocked here. You see one religion that's mocked here, and it's Catholicism. It's Christianity. I don't think that profanation comes from a place of evil or malice. I know that might be controversial to say, but I think it comes from a place of confusion and desperation. This is a world a lot of times without the sacred, even within the Catholic Church, within the Roman Catholic Church, the sacred has been removed, whether you look at it as in artwork, in architecture, or in the liturgy itself. And what you have here is a type of, it's a perverse sort of Catholicism where everything, you see, you see words like communion, you see words like sacrifice and suffering and crucifixion and blood, and it's a lot of imagery of, death and sort of a hope for resurrection. But this is suffering without redemption, and it's very sad. It's empty in a way. And that's very sad because it's ultimately very empty, and it leaves everyone here frustrated and even more desperate. And then it gets darker and it goes deeper. And ultimately what everybody wants and why they've come here is for peace, and you don't find it here. And I wish Catholicism would offer what these people so desperately need, and that's a sense of something very, very sacred. And the sort of discipline you see here in this sort of BDSM culture, and the sort of strict discipline you see here in the BDSM culture, it's really what humanity longs for. I know it seems like we seek freedom, but the more freedom that we have, especially in terms of sexual freedom, it results in bondage, because man longs to be free, but when he seeks freedom through sex, it becomes a sort of an enslavement. It's not true. It's not true freedom. True freedom is in Christ. God bless you all.